Okay, I have to admit that as a historian, it was a little unusual organizing or summarizing my project visually. However, I found that this exercise was a really useful one for me, in part because it allowed me to very simply and directly present or introduce the two fundamental components of my project. That is, nationalistic Chinese students who studied in the United States and the Americans who paid them attention. Now, the top slide is obviously the students, specifically some of the members of the Chinese Students Alliance. This organization, which was founded in 1906, quickly became the central nervous system for virtually every Chinese student who came to the United States through the 1920s. And while its functions varied and included a host of socializing activities, the leaders of the Alliance identified as two of the organization's primary objectives to be the publication of a monthly periodical and the organization of annual academic conferences for the Chinese students. Importantly, both of these things were largely devoted to the study of contemporary U.S.-Chinese relations. Furthermore, I have found that these students' efforts to immerse themselves in the study of Sino-American relations was not passive. Rather, the organization and its leadership continually sought out America's diverse network of foreign policy experts, specifically China policy experts, often with the explicit goal of shaping the way that these Americans viewed the Chinese state. I've included three such individuals at the bottom of this slide. I'm happy to go into further detail on any of these. But the reason that I chose these three specifically is that their collective lifespan as policymakers, which ranges from 1900 to 1930, studying this time frame really elucidated for me the single dominant paradigm through which these Chinese students came to understand all American foreign policy, which is they came to judge all American foreign policy along the lines of America's most cherished but also most ambiguous foreign policy doctrine in regards to China, the open door policy. At a time in which China was under constant threat of colonization by European powers and by Japan, the open door policy, which was articulated by the U.S. in 1900, promised China the preservation of its sovereignty so long as China would open its markets to all foreign powers. Now, importantly, both then and today, Americans often view the open door policy as a subtle instrument of economic imperialism. But for these Chinese students, the open door policy was an American promise to stand with China when China was too weak to stand alone. Moreover, it also represented, in their minds, that America seemed to stand as a new and unique type of Western power, one that rejected imperialism. And I want to stress that many of these students were not insignificant historical actors. Rather, many would go on to serve very important roles in China's economy, in China's military, and in China's education system in the 1920s. More importantly still, the leaders of this organization invariably found themselves in hugely influential roles as policymakers in China's government in the 1920s and the 1930s. Consequently, my dissertation will argue that right at the moment when these leaders took control of the halls of power in China, they experienced enormous dissatisfaction with American foreign policy. Specifically, as American policy diverted from the principles of the open door policy, these Chinese leaders and these young students, their frustrations grew throughout the 1900s, and increasingly they began to become skeptical of what they had believed to be was an exceptionalism of the United States. Now, to accomplish all of this, to find the data necessary to support my thesis and to corroborate the sources I already have, will require 4 major research trips scattered throughout the United States. And these trips are obviously not inexpensive. However, they are vital to the completion of my project, to the completion of my dissertation. I am hopeful that with the Dean's graduate research that these four research projects will be sufficient to complete this. But I emphasize that the vitality of corroborating these personal papers, the government papers, as well as the memorandum is critical to writing what I believe to be an exciting and important story in U.S. history. Thank you. No. So on the left, this fellow was an American official in the 1900s. At the far right is the, I guess, most recent, and his tenure as an American official served from 1920 to 1930. Oh, no, unfortunately, same time period.